Hey everyone, welcome back to Inktober drawings. This is number 8. Um, we finished our first week yesterday, so we're jumping into week 2 of Inktober. The challenge has been really fun actually so far. I've gotten to flex a lot of both art creation muscles and video editing muscles. So if anything, this challenge, even if it doesn't get like a lot of notes on Tumblr or notes on Twitter or even views as videos, building up my skill set more, refining my skill set, just getting better at doing these creative things. So the challenge itself has actually been really worth it just for development's sake. And that's pretty exciting to me, honestly. It's sort of what I wanted to get out of this challenge was, yeah, I'll end up with these 31 drawings, but I'll also end up having 31 days where I both draw in a medium I'm not that used to, and do editing for these things. So yeah, it's a pretty nice thing going on right now. This particular character, she is from sort of an undercity, undergrowth type of place. City underneath the main city. So her look is much more not punky, but more what would the term be? Not goth, not ragged necessarily, but yeah, more what you'd expect from an undercity type of style that you would see in science fiction or even fantasy. It's a bit Golgari-ish, I will admit, but it's not Golgari. It's not we're gonna break down the dead bodies of everything from the surface to make food, which is what Golgari do. But she does have a bit of that vibe, sort of dismantled Victorian would also be kind of a thing there, which would be a little Grim Dawnish, but it's not Grim Dawn, obviously. And then I added a layer of freakiness to it, so she has these like seams all over her, where she's been kind of rebuilt by her own design. And yeah, I was like, I've been watching a lot of horror lately, obviously, it being in October, and I love watching horror, so I decided to throw in a little eldritchness, a little what would normally be considered body horror things, but giving the character control over it in the form of the tendrils sprouting out of her arm, which she has control over, and, giant knife fingers. So yeah, she's a fun design and fun to draw. She's what I would call a character that may or may not be in the final product, or maybe something for later. But the concept of the undergrowth is definitely going to be in this story, at least later. And yeah, there's some little interesting drawing bits in here, specifically in the close-up foreground that's supposed to be mushrooms. And when I get to ink, even drawing it, it probably doesn't look like mushrooms. And when I got to inking, I'm like, man, these don't look like mushrooms at all. But yeah, that's supposed to kind of be like a thing, stack of logs kind of, that has a bunch of mushrooms growing on it, or just some sort of porous surface that has the fungus growing on it. And when we get into details in the back, I decided to throw in some road looking structures or bridges and the quaint weirdness of a clock tower underground. I was sort of looking at architecture and stuff, and I'm like, I haven't actually drawn a clock tower at all. So let's do the clock tower here. And I think I absolutely fudge up the faces on it. They're ellipses. At least one of them I completely make a hash of, but I mean, that's fine. Oh, pal, Photoshop could be a correction on those. And looking at it, there may be one or two things I could do where I could throw in some black or some harder core shadows. Specifically on her hair. I think I just skipped, maybe just didn't think of doing it, putting more flat blacks in her hair like I did with her dress. Yeah, that might be the one correction I do going forward. I think a bunch of these might get corrected before I do my plan at the end of the month, which is, I think I'm going to cobble all these together in a book, 31-page book, find a self-publishing site somewhere, and self-publish the drawings. It's, I think it'd be a fun thing to do. Just get it all together in a book, sell an art book of these 31 drawings. And I mean, I'll have 31 drawings floating around. I might as well use them. I might as well take advantage of that. So yeah, I'd probably do corrections to all of the images to get that together, just to make sure the book is as quality as possible. Even if it technically takes away from the quote-unquote real artness of it, the how would you phrase that? What's that phrase? It's not traditionalness to it. It's sort of like even if it took away from the I put the line down then it's done quality, the uniqueness, I guess, of traditional media. I, however, am not above correcting things in Photoshop to make sure it either looks right or looks better or just looks more presentable. Because, I mean, people that don't do art aren't going to know the difference, really. They may see something and be like, oh, that looks like it was painted not with paint. But I think for the most part, people that don't do art just look at art and they don't judge it based on its media. This is kind of an old thing that's been in my head for a while. Is this traditional versus traditional quote unquote at this point versus digital artwork, because it was kind of a big deal at the school I went to while I was in the school. How there were some teachers that didn't think this Photoshop thing would go anywhere. But then there were people at the school, including myself, who were like, oh, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do the digital artwork. And it became sort of almost a point of contention, where some people would they'd almost like just outright insult the people who did digital artwork. And I have some stories, man. Both from like direct experiences and what's happened to other people. And I mean, keep in mind, this is 10 years ago, so it's not like I'm holding a grudge over it, but goddamn do I remember some of the negatives of trying to do more modern art techniques in an art school. And stuff that happened to me, stuff that happened to other people. It was like, if I were to say it, which I don't necessarily want to, because I don't want to like ding any careers out there, even though I think one of the people that was in the anti-digital art group, a teacher, probably deserves to be dinged a couple times. But like I said, I'm not holding a grudge against that fucking asshole. Yeah, I do have a couple stories, and if I told them, you'd be like, really? That happened? And, yeah, I'm not gonna actually tell them, because some of them are pretty bad. Pretty bad, and it kind of makes you realize how much college is basically high school, with, like, the people who weren't bullies actually get a chance to kind of be bullies in college. It's almost like what Tumblr is, but with real people. I mean, people actually really there with you who, you know, you can look face to face before you bully them. So, that's my time, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to check out my gaming channel. You'll find a link in the description below, and to check out my Patreon. Link should be on the screen at the end of the video, and will be in the description below. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next Inktober thing.